Supply chain bottlenecks are pushing up the cost of a wide variety of goods. That's because of rising demand for products that the world infrastructure isn't equipped to handle. As Paolo Montecillo reports, it's threatening to derail the fragile recovery from the pandemic.
Truckers rarely used to wait outside the port of Los Angeles to get their goods. Now, the lines stretch for kilometers as the facility is overwhelmed with containers full of stuff from China.
I've been driving for the port for like almost 10 years, but this year is terrible. I never see that before.
Authorities around the world are under pressure to ensure goods flow smoothly across borders. In the US, bottlenecks have pushed consumer price inflation to 5.4%. September's rate is the highest since 2008 and has spurred the government into action. President Joe Biden has brokered an agreement to keep the port of Los Angeles, the main gateway for goods from China, open 24 hours a day.
This is the first key step toward moving our entire freight, transportation, and logistical supply chain nationwide to a 24/7 system.
In China, a slump in coal production has forced the country to import the commodity at record costs. Factory prices in the world's second-largest economy shot up 10% in September, the most in 26 years. Meanwhile, the UK says it's working with other economies to fix its logistical issues. Those have resulted in fuel shortages in the country and hampered car production.
I chaired a meeting of G7 finance ministers where we agreed to work together constructively to address these issues and share best practice.
The IMF has said shortages and high prices are threatening the global economic recovery. The lender says due to the interconnected nature of international trade, the crisis will end only if problems are addressed everywhere. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
For more, let's bring in Samir Dani. He's a professor of operations management and the deputy director of the Keele University Business School and joins us from Loughborough in the UK. Samir, thank you very much for being with us today. Lockdowns and other social restrictions imposed at the height of the pandemic were always expected to disrupt supply chains. But now, months later, is the reopening the only reason behind these bottlenecks, or is something else at play here?
Okay, there are a number of reasons which have affected the supply chain. And the first one is, of course, reopening of the world economies post-COVID. So this has put a lot of impact. This put a lot of influence on the operational processes across the world, from manufacturing to logistics networks through port operations at the moment. This is worldwide. You've just shown us a clip of how President Biden has negotiated the deal with Port of Los Angeles to open up that port for 24/7 operations. And then there's a whole chain reaction behind it. So even if the containers get out of the ports, they have to be taken on the carriers, they have to go through the warehouses, and then from the warehouses, the goods have to go to the retailers. So there's a whole domino effect behind the scenes. There have been issues about the recurrence of the Delta variant. In China at the moment, there are South China, there is issues with the typhoon, and that's affecting port operations and so on and so forth. So it's like several problems coming out at the same time, along with the post-COVID situation.
Right, and as you just hinted at Biden's 24/7 operations, do you think this really has the potential to be game changer?
So there is a short-term solution at the moment. So they're trying to increase the productivity and efficiency of the port by increasing the operational time. So they've gone to 24/7. The port of Long Beach did that about a few weeks ago. Overall, the two ports account for about 40% of the container traffic that flows into the U.S. So hopefully, they're hoping that even if that container shortage, if they can get that out of the port, that means the other ships that are still waiting to be berthed will have the space to come in and offload the containers. Now, they have also negotiated against this. Is not only the port of Los Angeles, but they have negotiated with several carriers like FedEx, Walmart, UPS, Target, to actually move that cargo. If they can't move the cargo 24/7, they can't take it on the roads, then it's non-value adding, because it's not going to help the congestion. So
Right.
there is a bigger package. There's a bigger package at play here, not just that the Port of Los Angeles is going to work 24/7.
Right, and Samir, large economies like China and the US are clearly struggling to maintain supply lines for their industries. What's been the impact on smaller emerging economies?
So it's a double-way thing, because smaller economies may be supplying to China for the manufacturing scenario. So if the entry point into China is affected, then of course it will affect the emerging economies, because they can't supply. It's again as a domino effect. If nothing gets through the system, then the payments don't happen through the system. That's what the G7 finance ministers have been talking about. It's how do you help the emerging economies if the supply chain is stunted and the financial packages don't flow through the system. So China being the world's kind of manufacturing base, this will be a big influence at the moment, because China has lower productivity. The COVID virus is affecting factories. There has been the push towards the green economy in a sense, and so that's affecting energy availability, and there's a big package. There's this multitude of
Right.
challenges at the moment in China also. That's pushing up the prices. That's pushing up the factory gate prices of products that are coming out of the factories.
Right.
So yes, it's a big challenge at the moment for the emerging economies too.
Samir Dani, many thanks for being with us today.